Yeah, Simon.
Yeah, just on the 1701 point, but so you're calling for, you're now, I think in the last sort of 2 weeks, you've started using 1701 talking as a sort of repeated talking point, but in the actual 3-week ceasefire that you were proposing 2 weeks ago, that was sort of a temporary ceasefire that would hopefully lead to a resolution, but no longer do you want an immediate cessation of violence to move to a diplomatic solution.
We do want to ultimately get to a ceasefire. As I said, we ultimately want to get to a diplomatic resolution. The situation on the ground has changed from where we are 2 weeks ago, and we hope that this change in situation on the ground will change Hezbollah's calculation ultimately, because even when we were putting forward that ceasefire proposal and trying to get to the full implementation of 1701, I can tell you there were a lot of people, and you see people publicly commenting on this, quite skeptical of whether Hezbollah, even at the end of a 21-day ceasefire, was going to fully agree to go back to the Litani River, given the fact that they have refused to do that for the past 18 years. Maybe their calculation will be different in the days and weeks ahead. That's the proposition that will be tested.
Right, but now there's a ground incursion, so the Israelis are also in breach of what would need to happen to be in that. So are they willing to move back over the border if in the event of a temporary cessation of fighting, not necessarily going all the way to the terms of 1701, but what you were calling for before? It seems that you're no longer calling for that, right?
So the Israeli government will have to speak to what they will and are not willing to do. But to be clear, when we say that we want to see 1701 implemented, that includes all the provisions of 1701. It doesn't just mean the provisions that apply to Hezbollah. It means Israel withdrawing south of the blue line as well. We want to see every provision implemented, and that includes the provisions, as I just said, for Israel.
And yesterday we spoke a bit about this on the back of this video that Prime Minister Netanyahu put out, where he's basically calling for Lebanese people to rid their country of the scourge of Hezbollah. So you seem to be backing this campaign. That's the Prime Minister of Israel talking about these broader aims. You've come out in support of this campaign, but you seem to be basically supporting an effort to change the politics of Lebanon by force.
So we want the Lebanese people to decide who their leaders ought to be. Bottom line, and that has been our position, that continues to be position. We don't want to see any other government in the region dictate to the people of Lebanon who their leader is. We certainly don't want to dictate to the people of Lebanon who their leader is, and we're not going to. We want the Lebanese people to be able to do it, but we want them to be able to do it absent a terrorist organization putting a gun to their head, which is the situation that Lebanon has been in for decades now.
Right.
And so we are hopeful that the stalemate that has existed in Lebanese politics for some time, that for the past 2 years has kept them from electing a president, because of Hezbollah's influence, because the way Hezbollah uses force to make its influence known by threat inside Lebanese politics. We hope that the Lebanese political system can break that deadlock, and ultimately we hope that Hezbollah is degraded enough that they are less of a force in Lebanese politics, and that they agree to withdraw back up above the Litani River so 1701 can be implemented.
Right, but whether you like it or not, Hezbollah is part of the Lebanese political landscape, right? So what the Israelis are doing is trying to change that landscape through force, and you're supporting that. So this seems to be a very different approach to calling for restraint, trying to get everyone on board with diplomatic agreements. In the last 2 weeks, we've gone from that to, maybe we could change the government of Lebanon through a ground invasion.
So we have always made clear that we think a terrorist organization should play no role in the government of any country, and especially a terrorist organization that has shown over decades that it is willing to use force and threaten force against the Lebanese people to accomplish its aims and to hold the people of Lebanon hostage. That is not a new position of the United States. That has been our position going back decades. It will always be our position that Hezbollah should not be able to, or should not be allowed to, use force against the Lebanese people to accomplish political aims. That hasn't changed. It's not going to change.
And now these sort of broader aims raises a question. What you've come out in support of is limited I guess, short-term incursions. You won't say how short-term, but how long can this operation continue with the goal of basically ridding Lebanese politics of Hezbollah?
So we are in conversation with the Israeli government about exactly those questions. The goal that Israel is trying to accomplish is to push them back, away from the border. I think it's a separate. I think, what's that?
I mean, is that the goal? They seem to have that goal and other goals.
That is their goal. I will say it is our goal to ultimately see the Lebanese people elect their own political representatives. When it comes to Israel's military goals, I'm not going to make any forecasts. We're going to continue to have conversations with them about it.